Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. Today I would like to talk about PPR. What is that, you may ask? Well, at one point or another, we've all wondered, why is it that the people I'm interested in are not interested in me, and the people I ignore keep contacting me, right? So it would be statistically improbable, if not impossible, that every time you like someone, they did not feel the same and vice versa. So what's going on here? Is this some sort of sick joke from the universe? It certainly feels like it sometimes. And so that is why I would like to introduce you to PPR, positive partial reinforcement. It's a psychological term where the reward is not granted every time the desired action is taken. And you can see the effectiveness of PPR in Vegas. People stay at the slots or the tables because they're only rewarded at random intervals. If they were never rewarded, if they never won, they would soon give up. If they always won, they would eventually get bored and move on. In one experiment, a pigeon that was given a random reward for pecking a button over a 1-minute interval continued pecking for over 3 hours without a reward. So what does this have to do with you and dating? Everything. Because you see, you naturally do this type of behavior with someone that you're not really interested in or don't have a high interest in, and people do the same thing with you. So you'll see them or talk to them when it's convenient for you. You'll throw them a bone once in a while. You don't go out of your way for them. And these are the people who end up being crazy about you. And that's because you reward them occasionally, but not all the time. And these are the effects of PPR. However, usually when we're interested in someone, we make ourselves available. We talk to them for hours on the phone. We return their texts immediately. We'll see them at the drop of a hat. And it seems that these are always the people that you have to work so hard to get, right? It's frustrating and annoying. So it's the things you're doing, your behavior, which determines the other person's interest level. So how can you apply PPR to the person that you're crazy about in order to win them over? 3 things. 1 is availability. You can't always be available. By always being available, you diminish your value. It's just human nature to not appreciate something that's always there. When you like someone, you of course want to see them as much as possible, so you make yourself available as much as possible, but that is the kiss of death. So you have to do the opposite. This keeps them from being satiated and keeps them wanting more. So sometimes you're available and sometimes you're not. And if you have a life and if you're busy, then this should naturally happen. But people seem to forget this, and they're willing to drop everything, their schedule. Suddenly they're not going to the gym, they're not seeing their friends, they're dropping everything just to be available. So stop that. The next thing is behavior. Think of how you behave when you're not really into someone, and behave that way with the person that you're into. I know it's not going to be easy, but we have a goal to get here. We want to attract a certain person, so you need to change your behavior. So think about it. When you don't care, you take your time returning calls, texts, emails, and sometimes you even ignore the texts or emails and don't even respond, and you don't even care. And you may even get upset if they text you too much, whereas if it's someone that you really like and they text you a lot, you're like, ah. So you need to watch it with the texting and the emails, because that really shows interest or lack thereof. And then finally, attitude. When you like someone, your attitude is, I have to have this person. I have to have this person. Whereas when you're not that interested or have medium interest level, low interest level, you just naturally hang back. You have a wait and see attitude. You'll think, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll grow on me. And it's this exact attitude that makes you the most attractive. Now, one thing to keep in mind that people mess up is they think that they have to mistreat the other person. No. While you want to practice limiting your availability, You want to have a wait-and-see attitude and throw doubt into the mix, mixed signals. You have to treat the person well. So you can compliment and appreciate and praise them some of the time, but not all of the time. That's PPR, partial positive reinforcement. Sometimes you praise and appreciate and compliment, and sometimes you don't. But if you're really interested in someone, you're probably going to find this hard to do because you think, oh, well, they'll be mad if I turn them down or if I end the date early. Whereas if you're out with someone that you're not really interested in, you couldn't care less if they get mad, right? So I'm not saying that this is an easy thing to do because you naturally want to see and talk to the person that you like, and it feels unnatural to avoid them and not see them and not talk to them when you want to. So you might be listening to this and think, oh, this is all games. I don't want to play games. It isn't games. It's psychology. It's a minimal understanding of psychology. It explains why you get hooked on people that are not interested in you and vice versa. And also, I want you to be aware that someone might be doing it to you, either because they have low interest level or because they know about this and they just naturally do this where they know, okay, well, I'm not going to give this person all my attention. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get them hooked. And they saw that it worked in the past, and so they keep doing it. So if you're wondering why you're hooked on someone, and meanwhile you're thinking, but you know what? They don't even have that much to offer. They're not even my type, blah, 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 blah. Why am I so hooked on this person? Well, look at their behavior because they just might be using positive partial reinforcement on you. So if you have any questions or comments about this, or if you need private coaching, you can contact me at my website, theartoflove.net. If you're listening on iTunes, I would appreciate if you would rate and review the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe. And finally, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.